Hi, this is Happy Bird from happybirdsglitternest.blogspot.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make some lovely little buttons for your junk journals or any of your other crafts, and you make them out of just your simple white buttons like these, okay? And they're very pretty. As you can tell, there's a cord around the edges here, and they're lovely, and they have lace on top. I'll show you how I made all of these, so stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need some buttons with a nice flat edge to them. Now, I didn't pay $2.29 for these at Hobby Lobby. I bought these for $1.14 because they were 50% off. And they had lots of other white buttons, even in the large bags, that had a nice flat edge to them with some depth all the way around. So you're going to need that. And I looked through some of my vintage buttons, and I came across this, and although it's not quite as deep as these buttons here, it will still work really well. So you can also use the smaller buttons. These are vintage. They have a nice flat edge to them. Okay. What you want to avoid are buttons like this. This one looks like a disc or a flying saucer type thing where there's really nothing here. It just slopes downwards to a very thin edge. You don't want that, okay? So I'm going to quickly snip these off. And you could make these any size you want, of course, but I like working with the buttons that are a little bit larger like this. Okay. So the next thing you're going to need is some glittered vinyl. Now, I purchased these at Hobby Lobby. I love the glittered vinyl because no matter what you do, the glitter does not come off. It's baked right on there. And here's some white. And these are only about $1.99 a sheet. And they're very pretty. Like I said, they don't, come off. And these are flexible too, which is nice. It'll form right to your button. So I decided I was going to cut this piece of pink vinyl, glittered vinyl. And I'm just going to be using my Fabri-Tac. And just going to be putting Fabri-Tac right here and in the middle. Just going to smear it around a little bit. And I'm just going to place this on here, and then I'm just going to kind of form it to the button. Now I'm going to allow this to dry for a little bit, and once it's completely dried, I'm going to turn it over, and we're going to cut around here with the scissors. Okay, so when this dries, I'll be back. Okay, so now I'm going to take my detail scissors, and I'm just going to cut around here. I'm going to take my time and just cut slowly all the way around. There's no need to be in any kind of rush. And then I'm going to go back around a second time and cut any little pieces that I missed off. thinking that I've almost got it. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now we have what looks like this. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be gluing on a piece of lace, and I like the type of lace fabric that has a lot of little details to it, because the buttons are small anyway, so it's nice when you can see that lacy detail. And if you don't have any lace fabric, you can always use your thin lace on a roll here. You know, you can put that over like this. Yeah, it'll look pretty too. So it's best if you use a thin lace, okay, not a thick, heavy cotton lace or anything like that. And we're just going to put some glue mainly around the edges here. I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm just going to put mainly around the edges and maybe just a little smear in the middle, because I'm not trying to cover up all the sparkles. I still want the sparkles to show through. And I'm just going to lay this piece of fabric right, I'd say right about here. And just going to kind of press like that. Now I'm going to allow that to dry, and then when I come back, we'll turn it over and cut around the lace. Okay, so this is dried, and we're going to cut this out here. Just going to kind of rough cut it at first. Okay, then I'm going to turn it over and just let the button be my guide. So I just trim this away. And then we go back through and I cut any little pieces that I may have missed going around the first time. Okay, just like that. And I think this is looking pretty good. So now we have what looks like this. Okay. Now we're not finished yet. What I like to do, well, this has 4 holes, not 2, but that's okay. I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to put a hole through 2 of the holes right across from each other. And to help with this, I'm going to use this tapestry needle. Do you remember when I showed you this from my freebie haul from the senior center? I found these little tapestry needles in there. Well, I looked on the back and they actually have a date, February 2nd, 1968. I thought that was pretty cool. I just wanted to show you that. Okay, so I'm just going from behind, and I'm just gonna go up like this and just kind of spin it around a little bit, move it around so I can see where the hole is, and I'll show you why in a little while. I do the same thing here, just kind of wiggle it around. Okay, so I can kind of see where those 2 holes are. So now I'm going to take just a plain old disposable fingernail file, and I'm going to make downward motions all the way around, and this just kind of roughs up the edge of the button a little bit. You don't have to do it a lot, just a little bit all the way around. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of dust it off. Okay. Now this is some really nice gold cord. It's a metallic gold cord on a roll. I have had this roll for years and years, and I'm just now finally coming towards the end of this. I did buy it at Michael's, and I went back to Michael's probably a year ago now, and I really wasn't expecting to find it, but I was stunned when it was actually there. So they do have this at Michael's, and it's in a nice size roll like this. Be careful when you buy it, because sometimes this cord is stretchy, okay? You don't want to get the stretchy elastic cord. This is not stretchy at all. This is a regular cord, okay? And they have it in this pretty metallic gold, and I believe they have it in the metallic silver as well. So you might want to check there. Okay, enough of my yakking. I'm going to take some Fabri-Tac, clean the nozzle. So we want that clean before we start this part. And I'm just going to put a little bit like this all the way around. Just, you know, doesn't have to be tons, just a little bit. Just make sure that it's covered. And I'm going to set this aside. What did I do with that cap? Oh, here it is. Okay. I'm just going to start this at the top. Going to press it down a little. And then I'm just going to move the button around like this. And just going to keep going. I'm going underneath that. And now we're doing the third row. How many rows depends on how deep your button is. Generally, I like to use buttons that are about 3 millimeters to 4 millimeters deep. Of course, you can still do it if it's not quite that deep, but I just like working with buttons that are that deep, because the deeper they are, the more metallic gold cord you can wrap around them, and it really looks pretty. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it, so I'm just going to snip that off and press that down. Okay, so now we have the gold cord on the outside. So I'm going to take a piece of this cord like so, and that tapestry needle. I'm just going to slip this through the tapestry needle like that. I'm not going to pull it all the way down. I'm just going to pull a little bit like that, leave just a little tail. And I'm going to start by looking for the holes that I used. So I think it's right. And if I can't find it, then I just go back through. Kind of gives me an idea that I'm going to make sure it doesn't fall off there, because I'm working while it's still wet. Okay, so about there. Alright. Thinking that's it. Oh, I just saw it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to go down one hole. Okay. Then we're going to go up the other hole, and then take the needle off, and then I'm gonna cut. I think I'm gonna put a little more glue here because it's starting to unravel. See, I generally let it dry before I put in the little bow at the top, but I didn't do that this time because I was impatient and wanted to show you guys, but that's okay. It's an easy fix. Easy fix. Okay. Okay. Hold on for just a second. I have to let my dog in my room because if I don't, she's just going to stand there and bark at the door. Okay, sorry about that. She's an old girl, so I kind of cater to her. She's 10 years old, and we took her to the vet the other day and found out she had congestive heart failure, an enlarged heart, and a heart murmur. So we have to buy heart medication for her now every month, and we have to give it to her twice a day. So I kind of baby her. Okay, so I just tied this with a simple overhand knot, and I'm just going to do a second overhand knot just so it won't come undone. Okay, and I'm just going to tie a little bow. Alright, now I'm just going to pull like that. I'm supposed to pick up my glasses tomorrow, so I'm very happy about that. Maybe I can see better. Alright, so I'm gonna try to pull this where it stays. I'm not real worried about it because I'm going to be putting glue in the middle here because we're going to attach a little rhinestone. Oh my goodness, now I have my daughter-in-law's kitty pawing at the door. Okay, I'm going to take one of these small antique looking rhinestones. I think they go perfect with this project. I bought these at Hobby Lobby. I did not pay this price. I always wait until all Paper Studio products are on sale 50% off, which generally happens a couple of times a month. So, you know, check your Hobby Lobby ad under Paper Crafts, and if it says all Paper Studio brands half off, then that's when you go to buy them. They do have rhinestones that look similar to this at Michael's. I believe Recollections makes them, but I don't know. They have them in multiple sizes in the package, but I don't know how small the smallest rhinestone is. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac, just the tiniest amount, because you don't want it to be, you know, oozing out from under the rhinestone. It doesn't take a lot to hold. And you're just going to straighten it out and just let it dry on its own. And that's pretty much all you do, guys. And they really turn out lovely. They make great little journal buttons or craft buttons for any type of embellishment. And if you don't have access to buttons, you can always take a 1-inch circle punch, and as you can see, I punched about 5 circles from this 110-pound cardstock, and I glued them all together with Fabri-Tac here. And then once this was thoroughly dry, you can tell when it's thoroughly dry because it gets really hard and it doesn't bend. When it's thoroughly dry, I just took my bottle cap hole punch. Oh, well, let me tell you, before I did that, I put this like that and turned it over on the back. And I took this ultra fine point Sharpie and I just went dot, dot like that, okay? And then I just took that off and I had 2 black dots to show me where the buttonholes should go, so it didn't look off-center. And that's when I went in like this and punched it very easily where the black dots were. And then I made a button, and see, it's deep enough on the sides right there. And I did use 110-pound cardstock, so if your cardstock is less than that, you're going to have to punch out a lot more circles. But whatever you feel comfortable with. So this is just an option if you don't have access to the buttons, okay? With that said, take care, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Bye-bye.